Hello and welcome to blackfilm.com. I'm your host, Ro Carter. Today I have the pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, this lady is amazing. She's so talented. She's traveled the whole world. Her name is Sope Aluko. Welcome to blackfilm.com. How are you?
I am great. Happy to be alive. Thank you.
Yes, you have this glow on you. Where were you? You just
I'm actually here in Miami, Florida, which is where my family lives.
nice.
So it's sunshine all the time. So it's always a good day.
I was actually there last weekend. I had a great time. It's beautiful.
Yes, yes. We have a wonderful beaches and so much, from the melanin from the sun is just, it just puts you in a good mood. Unfortunately, I talked to my sister and she's in Atlanta and they're 30 degrees. So I thought, you know,
Yeah, I'm in New York right now. I'm like, oh, winter's here. So
oh, wow.
I'm be as happy as I can. But I love your energy, that glow. So I'm going to take that light and shine a little bit over here.
Lovely.
So you were in the first movie, Wakanda,
Yes.
and now you're in the second film, Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
What was the set like, right? Because we've lost some people since then. You didn't know what the movie was really going to be, or did you have a feeling of what it was on set? Or it wasn't until after the fact?
Well, we had been sent the scripts in advance, so we knew what the movie was going to be about. And so I don't know if you've spoken to anybody else from the film, but we have these very tightly clad security scripts that
Marvel.
we see. So we get to see and read the entire story. So it's an incredible story. It's an incredible journey. You're going to get new characters that are going to be in this film. So it's really exciting. But in terms of, I guess the first day for me on set was just, it was hard, I would say, because of obviously our king, Chadwick, not being there.
Yeah.
And this was the first time a lot of us were seeing each other since we'd had the memorial of his death. And that was like a 3.5 hour ordeal, which was, I think they were only expecting us to be on the line for about an hour, but there were just so many stories of everybody's interaction with Chadwick, at any level, and he was just a great person, and his presence was definitely, um, you know, it was absent, but it was present in our hearts, I think, as well.
Yeah, so what I see now, at least in the trailers, minus the new characters that are coming in, but it's more woman dominant than I've ever seen before.
Yes.
How did that feel to be on the big screen?
I think it was we had that female domination even in the first one because we had our it was like funny. It was funny because Ryan is literally encircled around women. So there was our first AD was a woman, DP was a woman, so we kind of like had all women, there, and it was lovely. So it was nice to see it again mirrored in this way. If you're speaking about women in the cast, yes, we have Michaela Cole's character, we have um, uh, so I can't remember her name. She's in the MIT student as well. We have Riri. And so we have other characters that are now coming into the forefront, and you're getting to see their backstory a little bit. So it'll be interesting for you to see it this time around. Yes.
I'm excited.
Yes.
You play the shaman that was under Forrest Whitaker's character who passed in the last film. So you have more roles now? Are you more involved in what's going down, or?
Well, in the first one, I was the shaman in training.
Oh,
So, as you know, editing of the film, maybe it was a little lost there, but he was my teacher. He was the person that I looked up to, and he's passed, and then you have to wait and see. Uh,
okay. Cliffhangers here. Cliffhangers here.
yeah.
So a lot of people don't know you've traveled the globe, as I said earlier. Your family were diplomats, so you got to see basically the whole world. Tell me, just so we can get to know you a little bit more, what's your favorite place, and who has the best food? Who has the best kind of energy?
My favorite place will have to be Trinidad.
Really, of all the ladies and gentlemen, she's been to tons of places. Tanzania, all these places. Trinidad is your number one. Wow.
Trinidad is just the most beautiful place, and it brought so many great memories
Okay.
at the time. And I sometimes I look at the landscape very akin to LA with the mountainous regions and
Oh, okay, okay.
just all of that. And, the calypso, soca, which I love, and the people. So that would definitely be a place that I love. In terms of food, I do like roti. I eat nice roti. I eat food from
Spot
anywhere in the world. I also like Indonesian food, which is where I lived as well. I just like food, period.
on.
Listen, I'm a foodie. I struggle with my weight as everybody, but I just love my food. I'm like, yes.
Well, you look great, regardless. You look great. So as long as you're healthy and happy, that's all that matters,
Yes.
right? At the end of the day.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
So, reading your life story, what are you working on in terms of like, we had a big break during COVID, and everybody's trying to get back together. I saw that your husband wasn't the biggest fan when you decided, hey, switch gears and become an actor. So, was he looking at you like during COVID, like, you see, you should have been working?
Yeah, he's still kind of like has that little thing in his head, like, okay, where are we? Because before I started the whole acting journey, I was in corporate America for about 20 years, and my both of my parents died suddenly, and it just made me reassess my life and what I wanted for my life, and I always wanted to be an actor even before I studied, my undergraduate and my postgraduate, and it was just my time to just like reassess and say, okay, let me see if I'm any good at it. Let me give it a chance. And 1 year became 2 years and 3 years. And my husband's like, okay, well, are we still trying to figure out when you're going to still do this? And honestly, I just kind of like went with it because of my love and passion for being an actor. I just stuck with it, even though it was very hard. And it still continues to be, challenging in some areas. But what I love now is that it has opened up the door for other skill sets. So now I'm a writer. And so I was very excited to write my first pilot during COVID. And,
Wow.
I got, meetings with a lot of the studios, which was very exciting. And then most recently, I have just wrapped a film that I produced. I wrote, produced, executive produced, and starred as lead as well. So I'm really excited to see the world see that film, which will be coming out next year. So it's a short film, and hopefully it will turn into a TV series at some point.
Well, good luck.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Now you're switching over to the writing side. Is it easier for you, or is it harder as an actor? Which career is harder? Because now you can create your own kind of characters and stories, but is it harder to get people to be like, hey, buy into this? I have something great here.
I don't know if it's easier or more difficult. I wouldn't judge it from that perspective. I just think it's a different creative space.
Okay.
And so writing almost allows me to meditate and just revel in the characters in the world that I am writing. So I love it from that instance. And a lot of the things that I use in writing are transferable from my acting, because you get a script, you break down the script, you see what the characters want, and you kind of get down into the nitty gritty. So I guess when you're writing, for me anyway, I get to self-censor those things in my head immediately and say, why do I have this character? What does the character's need, or things like that? So that helps me. But in terms of the difficulty, I think the difficulty is just writing. It's just like, I heard from Shonda Rhimes, she's like, every day you got to pick yourself up and you got to write. I find that hard, being as a writer, whether you like it or not, just write. Just wake up in that day and write. And I think that's the discipline that is the most challenging thing about being a writer.
So another thing I learned about you is that you speak 4 languages.
Yes.
So I heard, and again, this is through the grapevine, was the language created in the new film, Wakanda Forever?
I spoke Xhosa in the film. So I spoke the South African language. Actually, all my lines are in Xhosa. Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
What did that mean to you?
It was incredible. I had to learn my lines in 4 days. And when I first received them, I was like, okay. And I just really got to it. I prayed on it. I was like, listen, Lord, you're gonna make it happen. And he did, through me. I even was baffled. I was very thankful that Disney provided a dialect coach who came straight from South Africa to help me with the enunciations and the clicks and and there were so many of them and different types of them, and I wanted to make sure it was perfect.
We're gonna judge you if it's not. So you gotta make it perfect. You know what you gotta do. You know that.
Well, I got a thumbs up from him and Ryan, so I think, hopefully now I just need to wait for the thumbs up from the true South Africans. That's all.
That's it. That's it. You might not be coming back home anytime soon.
Hopefully, fingers crossed I did well.
So now we have this film. When is the premiere? Or is that still a secret? I think the big movie drops the 10th, but what's
the big movie drops on the 11th of November.
11th of November.
The premiere is, I can just say it's soon.
Okay, so premiere is soon.
Yes.
Your kids, how long ago was the first one?
First one was 2018. That was 4 years ago.
4 years ago. So you just said your 17-year-old helped you set up everything tonight with tech. She's not very technologically savage. Yes. So he helped out a little bit. Yeah. But with that being said, that 14-year-old son, your other kids, how are they looking at you, after the first film versus like, oh, mom, you got the second film again? Like, are they excited? Is your husband excited? Like, what's the energy like in the house?
Well, even before the first film, I always wanted to be on something that my children would be proud of. And it just kind of happened. And when it happened, it was like, whoa! And they got to be at the premiere with me. And they were just like, walking around, and it was, 1 minute they actually got to meet all of the castmates and some more people within the industry, because I was busy kind of like doing the interviews and everything. And they're like, oh, mom, we met this person. Oh, mom, we met this person. We met that. And I was like, oh, okay. So they had a phenomenal experience. And then when the call came for this, they were like, whoa. And the toughest thing in my household is keeping it a secret.
Like, you can't tell anybody, right?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't say a word. Couldn't say a word. And they didn't want to even hear it. They wanted to experience it the same time as everybody did, And so I was very cognizant of that, even though, like, I got gifts from Disney and Marvel, and they were like, don't open it up if you, you don't want your kids to see. I was like, nope, in a room. I don't open it up until November 11th when the whole world can see it.
The kids are getting a lot of swag. I know that.
Yeah. Oh, they love it. They absolutely love, it means so much to them, Black Panther, for everything that it stands for, the fact that we're 90% cast of Black actors and, crew members, and then just what it means for the African continent, the diaspora as well, and Black people in general. Is just such a, it's a great way of us all celebrating. I've got friends that have already got groups going out to see it on November 11th, different sororities and fraternities, and everybody's going to say, okay, we're going to see. So I love that. I love the energy that it's putting out there in the universe, because we need that right now, particularly.
Yeah, to piggyback that, when you see your movies at all, right, do you do it like alone or with your family and then go to the premiere as well? Or no, you just want to see the premiere and that's it?
You mean just in general TV?
Yeah, just in general for you. A lot of people don't like to see themselves on film. So if you have to go to the premiere, you'll go. But if you wanted to watch yourself, are you one of those people that are like, I don't like to do that? Or
no, I don't like to watch myself at all.
Really?
No.
Okay.
And obviously as an actor, when you're taping, which is what we're doing most of the time these days, with taping and sending tapes off, you have to watch yourself. You're forced to watch yourself, and it's so hard when you're, as an actor, you see yourself and you're editing your film or your tape, your audition, and you're like, oh, screwed up there, or the hair was up, just little things like my hair was a little sticking out here, or whatever, or little things like that. But I know my kids are they're very real in their opinions. They're very brutal sometimes, and they say, well, mommy, you didn't look so great there, or you could have done this and everything, and I know it's out of love. So
you got to do the Erykah Badu line, keep in mind I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my
Exactly. They're critics, but everybody's a critic, and
until they get there, right?
They know better. So I don't let it affect me too much. So, but yeah.
I remember I took my niece and my nephew, and I want to thank you. You are a part of history that will last forever. Your kids' will be talking about this, but I'll never forget taking a picture with my niece and my nephew. They were like 16 and 14 at the time, and I have the picture to this day. they had so many questions, and to look next to them, see their eyes light up in certain scenes, and just to see my niece, just to see another Black woman of just strong and smart and doing all these things, and you're like, oh my God. So it was so impressionable on the world, and for little Black and brown kids, it just, you feel that. Now this is even more Black and brown. So you're hearing that, and it's just a beautiful story. So I'm really excited to see what you guys have done with this. Hopefully Marvel can keep that momentum going, or just, Black Panther can do that for its own kind of fans.
Absolutely. And I think you're going to love it, because it's definitely going to be, we're now more inclusive, because you have the people who live in the water, they're two different worlds. So you're going to see how it all comes together, which I'm so excited for everybody to see. And the biggest thing for me is when I look at the kids' faces watching it. The first time round, I went to so many screenings, and all I did was look at the people, their faces. I was just like, that really was the best tonic for me. Just seeing the young kids just feel so emboldened and passionate and empowered that they could do anything, they could be anything. So it was lovely to see that.
Especially, I saw it in Harlem and on 125th, and just to see people all in the African print and clothes, I was like, is this for real? And you just didn't know what it was gonna be. And then you was like, oh, this is a movement.
Yes, it was a movement.
I love it so much. Like, there was 2 scenes in the movie, and when she says auntie, like everybody in the film, I was like, it was so us. So I love the writing.
Yeah.
That when you said they wrote this sort of dialect in for you and wanted to use this language, but are they like, who has the pulse? Because it's not only comedic timing, but it's also like it just feels right.
Yes. Well, Ryan is the writer. Ryan alongside with Joe Robert Cole, they co-wrote the script together. And Ryan is the kind of director that he sits with it, you say it, and he's very open to getting feedback. So whatever sits well with the character, for instance, in M'Baku's character, because he's also got some comedicness to him as well. So that kind of like gives that swag. So, depending on how Winston will take the line or deliver the line, the approach is like, okay, I think I would be doing this or doing that. And, Ryan is very approachable on set to just say, oh, I think my character should be saying this or do that. So although he wrote it, he's very open to, getting additional feedback on the roles and the lines.
And let me ask you this: any chance of a spinoff for the women in Black Panther for Disney? They're taking everybody like little parts off, or you can't say anything.
Well, I think it's been announced already. It's definitely the Dora Milaje through Denai's character, Okojo. She's going to definitely have her own TV series on Disney. And Ryan, I believe, is also working on a Wakanda series. So watch.
Are we gonna see you?
Watch this space.
Okay.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Everything is like.
I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
Let me tell you something. It's like the security is real.
Okay. People are at her door right now, like, hey, don't say it anymore. That's it.
Let's put it this way. I did an ADR and I couldn't fly out to LA. I had to do it in Miami. And there was Marvel security came down in there. Yes. So,
all right.
They don't play.
Let me find out Marvel's like the second government. Question for you. So you always hear stories about certain people took something from the set on the first film or on the second film. So you made the second film. Maybe you're a little bit nervous about taking anything from the first film. Did you take anything at all? And what did you take?
No, even if I did, I won't tell you. My goodness, like, hello, right on camera. Let everybody know. You know what? I took away the memories.
That's incredible
memories. Yes, we lost Chadwick. We also lost Miss Dorothy Steele. That is, remember, who was the light on set, and all of her comedic timing and just her beautiful spirit. We lost that, and I also have friendships with people that I built. I know I'm going to have forever. my castmates, Danny Sapani, Ruth Carter, phenomenal costume designer. She's absolutely gorgeous, and other actors that we continue to just, we chat. We're all have relations now. So that's the beauty about it, and what I loved. It's a family, and so when I came in to the set this time, it felt, familiar, and we just picked up where we left off. That was lovely.
That's beautiful to hear, because sometimes it's been a while and you're like, are we gonna do this again? Because you know how crazy it can get, but you're like humble. Everybody's kind of humble on set. Did you feel that from the director? Like, he's like, hey man, I made the most money ever for Black Film. This is what we do. Shade in.
Definitely not.
Neck, like, hey, what's up?
He's the most humble person. He's like, come on, hey, Sophie, how are you doing? And everything. I mean, everybody is just, it's such a lovely way. And that's one of the things I loved about this film, that everybody was just like a family. And even more so this time, because we knew that it's like, when you have those gatherings in Thanksgiving, and grandma and grandpa, whoever it is you've lost, there's a missing chair. Everybody was aware of that missing chair of Chadwick there. Yeah. And so it was just like, hey, we're all having fun. And then you would have moments of like, oh, yeah, that's right, we lost Chad. You know what I mean? It was a constant thing, but then it got us closer together during those really tough scenes that we had to get through.
So what's the future for you? You said you're doing writing, trying to get some screenplays. Is there any big roles that are coming out for you? Are we going to see you more of a main role character, or?
Yes, you're definitely going to see more of a main role character. I'm just excited right now as a filmmaker, which I can call myself. I still can't believe that, but I'm excited that I'm working on this short film that I wrote, and produced and executive produced and starred in. And it's a story. It's a fictional narrative based on true facts of my life. And I'm excited to just explore the fact that I'm writing stories that are about the African diaspora and about women particularly, and educating the entire world, or the Western world, about some of the stories that have been living with us. I mean, you've seen an example of that with Woman King, but there's so many more stories about women and the strength of women from the continent. And so that is kind of like where I'm leaning towards in terms of my producing, either productions that I've written, or other productions that other things that are written by others, who are now coming to me. I mean, I just have this plethora of scripts that are just landing on my desk of other stories. Yeah, so I'm really excited to explore that part of my arsenal in being a producer and a writer, and hopefully maybe a director as well too.
That looks good. I'm excited to see what you can bring.
Yeah.
You feel is society just opening up more doors nowadays for people of color, or has the writing always been there? Because now I'm seeing these amazing films and movies. I'm like, wow. It's like all of a sudden all these things are coming out of the woodwork. Do you feel that writing in the auditions that you have? Can you feel like they're kind of asking you like what you're thinking, or is it more like, no, this is Hillary, and Hillary's going to be doing this and that?
Yeah, I think there's been more representation in the roles. The breakdowns that you see nowadays are a lot more inclusive. So, versus 10 years ago when I started in this business, and they like, oh, this role has to be, Caucasian or whatever. Now you're seeing everything from, open ethnicity to non-binary to everybody. It's so much more inclusive, and I think this is just the beginning. I'm seeing a lot more of roles and characters that I can play versus when I started in this business. So it's very exciting. It's an exciting time, but I'm also excited to kind of like start writing my roles that I want to play. And I think that's another opportunity that's opening up, that you could become a filmmaker, you could write your own story, and there are people out there that want to listen and want to see it. So there are a lot more female-led stories, which is where I'm completely about. There are a lot more diverse stories. There are stories about the continent. There's stories about just living in America at this time frame. for Black people. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see that happen.
Listen, just reading your bio, I'm waiting for your book. Honestly, your life story is a book. Or a short film. It's beautiful, and you're so humble. Most people you meet that have traveled everywhere, they have a certain energy about certain things, a certain way people just respond to you, and you can feel that energy, that you're just a very nice human being that
Thank you.
enjoys to make people happy. So keep that up. Don't lose that. Don't lose that. Please, 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 please.
Thank you very much.
Because you're going to be a big star. I see it. I see it.
From your lips to God's ears.
So before we end the show today, I ask all of my guests, I do a show called Rewind with Ro. If you could rewind one part of your life, what would it be?
It would be to bring my parents back, because they never saw me make the leap into the areas and as an actor. I'm trying to get not so choked up about it, but I would love that. They never, either my mother or my father never saw me move into this phase of my life. And that would be my rewind, for them to see it and for them to go, we're proud of you, and all that kind of stuff. That would be nice.
Wow. All right. That was a good answer. Gonna get everybody choked up here. All right. Well, thank you, Sope Aluko. Thank you so much for the interview. Good luck. This film's gonna blow up. Tell your kids they're lucky. They're gonna get some amazing swag. I know it.
Yes.
Looking to see your future ventures that you get into, and I'm excited to see where you go.
Thank you so much for having me on your program. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And you too. Bye-bye.